Google has killed the call button. If you run a local business or you rank local businesses for clients, you need to understand what just happened. This isn't a random UI change. This is a pattern. It's the same pattern that Google ran when they killed organic shopping results in favor of shopping ads. It's the same pattern they've been running for years, systematically monetizing every single free action in search. And the call button? That was one of the last free actions left. So what does this mean for your business? What does it mean for your clients? And what do you actually do about it? So I'm going to break all of that down. But here's what most people are missing. The call button change, honestly, it's not even the greatest threat. There's something else happening right now in local search that should be, honestly, keeping you up at night. And almost nobody is talking about it. So here's what's actually going on. And there's a term for what Google has been doing to local search. Cory Doctorow called it enshittification. And yeah, that's the real word. Platforms start by making the experience great for users. Then they slowly degrade that experience to extract money from the businesses that depend on the platform. Now, I have my own name for the specific way that Google does this. I call it friction injection. The idea is simple. Take something that used to be free and easy for users and add just enough friction to make it annoying. And then sell the solution back to you. So think about what happened with Google Shopping. Now, this was years ago, but years ago, you could show up in Google's product results organically, completely for free. You had a good product page, you ranked, people found you. Then Google added shopping ads right at the top. Push the organic results down, and suddenly, if you wanted that visibility, you had to pay. The free option, well, it technically still exists, but it's now buried. Nobody was clicking it anymore. And that's where Google is injecting the friction. You don't remove the free option. You just make it worse and worse until business owners, until people pay for the alternative. And that is what Google is doing right now with local search. Now, they've been doing this step by step. First, they reduced the map pack from 7 business results to just 3. Then, they started pushing local service ads above the map pack. Then they added sponsored listings inside the map pack itself, and now they've actually removed the call button from organic 3-pack results. Let me show you what that looks like. So here's the screen. You can see I am viewing this in developer mode to show the iPhone 14 Pro Max. I've searched for Plumber Gary, and the sponsored results, we have call, call, call. I scroll down to the organic results. The first one here also is sponsored. Downing Plumber is paying for this position, big old call button, and then we get 1, 2, 3, no call button. But pay attention to what these GBPs look like. You get to see a couple of the images, and this is your opportunity to attract this click. What do you think about all this? Now, every single one of these moves does the same thing. It takes a free action that local businesses use to benefit from and adds a layer of friction. And every layer of friction pushes businesses closer to paying Google to get what they used to get for free. And that's exactly what they're doing with this call button. They don't actually remove it, right? It's still there, but now it's inside the profile. The user actually has to tap into the listing first in order to see the call button. So here's what that looks like. So if I click on Young Plumbing, then I get the call button. If I click on AJ's, I get the call button. And of course, Aquaman gives me the call button. But notice I now have to attract a click. Before, the call button was right here, nice and big, and I can just tap it. Now these images need to attract that first click so that the users will see the call button, and it has to be better than this giant call button. Now, this one extra step, it can sound really small, but that one extra step is the difference between you getting the phone call and the paid ad getting the phone call. But how bad is the actual damage from this specific change? Because there's a number floating around right now, and if it's accurate, a lot of local businesses are in serious trouble. The number I've heard is 20 to 40%. That's the drop in call volume from organic map pack results being thrown around right now. And whether you're an agency owner or a business owner, that number should make you sit up straight, because going from 50 calls a month to 30 from your Google business profile, that's a lot of lost revenue. It's a lot of lost customers. Now, here's where I want to be honest with you. That 20 to 40% number, like I said, it's floating around. I've seen it SEO blogs, SEO forums, but I have not yet seen a hard sourcing on it. A lot of this reporting is anecdotal. And I've learned a lot over the past 10 years of doing this, and anecdotal data in the SEO community is usually wildly off in either direction. Now, what I can tell you is what I'm seeing across the dozens of Google business profiles that my agency actively manages. We have real dashboards, real call tracking, real data. And what we're seeing is in fact a noticeable decline in direct calls from the MACPAP, but not across every single client. It's clearly not a coincidence. It's happening to several of them. And the businesses that are getting hit hardest, they're the ones with thin profiles, bad images, barely any photos, a handful of reviews, no posts, a basic description that hasn't been updated since 2017. These are the businesses that were doing the basics for their GBP to get ranked on Google. They were relying on the call button to do the heavy lifting. Someone would see the listing, tap call, done. Now that easy path is gone, and those thin profiles don't give people enough reason to interact with the profile, so the call button appears. All of those GBP optimizations designed to make sure you're ranking on Google, they don't help now if people aren't clicking. So make sure that your GBPs actually look good to real users. You saw the example of Plumber Gary. None of those featured photos look very good. And the clients where we've done deep GBP optimization, their numbers are holding up. And I'll explain exactly why that is in a minute, because it's directly tied to what you should be doing right now. But first, I want to tell you about the thing that's actually scarier than the call button going away, because the call button change, yeah, it's annoying. It's tactical. What I'm about to show you is structural, and it's going to reshape local search in a way that most agencies and most business owners aren't even remotely prepared for. The AI overview has been coming for the map pack. And this is the one thing that should actually scare you, and here's why. The call button removal is Google adding friction to something that still exists. Your listing is still in the map pack, people can still see it, they just have to take an extra step to call you. It's annoying, it might reduce volume, but it's manageable. The AI overview is a completely different animal. This is not adding friction, it replaces the map pack with an AI-generated set of business recommendations. Let me show you. Here's what that looks like. So you can see I've searched who's the best plumber in Houston for emergency pipe repair. Right now, this is a very conversational search. Very few people are going to type this into Google looking for local businesses, but if you do, you end up getting this paragraph above the map pack. Now, of course, we've all seen this happening with informational queries. It's been happening over the past couple of years. And at my agency, I've personally watched websites that are still ranked in the exact same position they were before lose 30 to 60% of their traffic solely because an AI overview appeared above them. The ranking didn't change. The traffic just disappeared because Google answered the question right there on the page and no one needed to click. Now think about what happens when Google starts doing that with local businesses, right? Someone searches plumber near me, and instead of showing the map pack at the top, Google will show the AI-generated business recommendations. Something like, here are the top-rated plumbers in your area with pricing info, availability, and reviews, all pulled from Google Business Profile data. The user gets their answer without ever even seeing your listing the way they used to. And this isn't speculation, right? We know Google is already testing this with these informational local queries. And when this rolls out fully, because it will, the businesses that survive are going to be the ones with rich, deep profiles. Because Google's AI needs signals to generate those summaries. It needs photos. It needs detailed services. It needs recent posts. It needs reviews with substance. Thin profiles, Google's AI is going to ignore them completely. There's just not enough data to pull from. And here's what makes this even more alarming. Based on the research coming out right now, the businesses showing up in Google's AI local results aren't even the same businesses showing up in the traditional map pack. The overlap is roughly a third, but let me show you an example where it's less than that. Same search, who's the best plumber in Houston for emergency pipe repair? We got Joe the plumber, TDT Plumbing, and Home Experts. Now, I flip on over to Houston Plumber. Again, sponsored results. I can call straight from there. Or I can come down here, and remember, no phone number. We have Village Plumbing, Cooper Plumbing, and Houston Plumbing Services. Zero overlap between Google's map pack and Google's AI. Now, on average, that overlap is a third, meaning 2 out of every 3 businesses that Google's AI is recommending are different from the ones that you're seeing in the regular map pack. So you could be ranked number 1 in the map, and Google's AI doesn't even mention you. That is a completely different game. And it's not just Google. ChatGPT, of course, is pulling the majority of its local business data from Bing and Foursquare, not Google. If your client isn't listed, and accurate, they're going to be invisible on ChatGPT entirely. And when we did this research independently and looked at what the 3 businesses showing up in Google's AI overview have in common compared to the businesses in the map pack, the number one thing that we saw over and over again was a review profile across multiple websites on the internet, not just the Google business profile. Yelp being a particularly important one. So now we're recommending all of my agency's clients go out and diversify their review portfolios beyond just focusing on the Google business profile. I know that sounds weird to be looking for reviews not on Google to help you rank more on Google, but that's what Google's AI overview is looking for. And look, across all of the AI platforms, Google, ChatGPT, Claude, Perplexity, Grok, they're pulling reviews from way more places than just the Google business profile. I mentioned Yelp is showing up as a massive source, but not just for the Google AI overview, it's showing up in about 1/3 of all AI generated local searches. And here's the thing about Yelp reviews specifically, they tend to be longer, more detailed, more narrative. And the AI systems love that. The AI systems can pull way more information from 50 detailed Yelp reviews than they can get from 200 5-star Google reviews that say great service. So the takeaway here is simple. If your client's review strategy is GBP, 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 that's honestly not enough anymore. You need reviews spread across multiple platforms: Yelp, Facebook, Angie, Bing, Foursquare, industry-specific directories, because the AI isn't just looking at Google. Even Google's own AI isn't just looking at Google. They're looking everywhere. So here's the thing, and this is what I really want you to understand. The call button change and the AI overview thread actually point to the same solution. The businesses that win through both of these changes are the ones with fully optimized, deep Google business profiles, set up to impress users, not machines, websites that are built to match, and a presence across platforms that AI is actually pulling from. But how do you actually do that? What specifically should you be doing right now to protect your business, your clients? And what advice out there could actually make things worse? And here's what's kind of ironic about all of this. Google killing the call button and pushing AI overviews. These changes actually make what you're doing more valuable, not less. If you're an agency or a business owner doing real GBP optimization, your work in that optimization just became the differentiator between businesses that survive this change and businesses that get crushed and lose all of their traffic that they're relying on right now. And let me explain what I mean. When the call button was right there in the map, a lazy profile was getting calls. Someone searches, sees 3 businesses, taps call on the first one, done. They don't look at the photos, they don't read the reviews, they don't check how many services were listed. They just tap the button, and now that button is gone. Now the user has to make a decision. They have to look at the profile and decide, is this business worth clicking into? Is this the one I want to call? And that means every single element of that profile now matters more than it did before. Photo optimization, review velocity, actual words inside those reviews, GBP post frequency, how many services are listed, whether the business description is generic garbage or actually tells someone why they should choose that business. All of that. All of the stuff that separates a real agency, a real business, from someone who just claimed a listing and then forgot about it, that's what's going to determine who gets the click now. And don't forget, proximity is an important factor for Google's organic map pack. It is not a factor for the AI systems. A lot of businesses right now are getting calls just because they're close to the searcher. That's going to go away. The businesses that claimed their listing and then forgot about it, they're the ones that are going to get crushed. That can't be your business. And if you're working with an SEO agency, that shouldn't be any of their clients either. This is a conversation you need to be having right now, whether that's with your own team or with your SEO provider. Because when call volume dips, it's easy to panic. It's easy to think that this SEO stuff isn't working, but if you understand what's actually happening and what to do about it, you'll see that an optimized profile is actually outperforming the competition because of these changes. That's the difference between reacting out of fear and seeing what's happening and making smart moves. Now, some of the recommendations floating around for how to respond to this sound reasonable, but a couple of them need serious context before you go implementing them for your business. First one you're going to hear, turn on Google messaging. Now the logic makes sense on the surface, right? Call button's gone. So give people another way to reach you directly from the profile. And sure, in theory, this is accurate and it's correct. But in practice, honestly, most service businesses handle Google business messages terribly. I've seen it across our clients. Slow response times, half-written replies, messages that sit unanswered for hours or days. And here's what most people don't realize. Google tracks your response time. Google tracks it. If you turn on messaging and then don't respond quickly, Google will actually suppress your visibility because of that. Can you stay still? Can you be still? I'm in the middle of something. So you're not just failing to help, you're actively hurting your ranking if you turn on GBP messaging and then don't respond. Unless your client or you has someone dedicated to responding within a few minutes, not hours, minutes, I would not turn this on. It can do more harm than good. Second recommendation you're going to see everywhere is to run local service ads. And look, LSAs are valid for certain businesses. The framing I keep seeing is that LSAs are mandatory because of the call button change, and this is just simply not true. LSA makes a lot of sense for high volume, low ticket service businesses. Plumbers, not water heater replacements, but their other services, locksmiths, HVAC companies, those businesses need a lot of high quality leads coming in. The cost per lead through LSA is manageable and the math works. But if you're working with a client like one of ours, a LASIK practice in Chicago, LSA in the medical space are a completely different animal. The cost structure is different. The compliance requirements are different. The lead quality is different. For that type of client, the organic profile optimization and review strategy you're already running is still going to be the primary driver. LSAs are a supplement at best, not a replacement. Don't let anyone tell you LSAs are mandatory across the board. They're mandatory for some. They're helpful for a lot. And they're optional for others. And they're a really bad fit for some. Know which ones your business or your client's business is before you spend the money. Now, here's what I actually think what matters most right now, and it's not sexy. It's not a new platform. It's not a new type of ads. It's really just going deeper on what you should already be doing. Your Google business profile has to earn the second click. The lazy tap to call is gone. Proximity-based ranking is going to be gone. So the profile itself has to do the selling. That means photos, and not 3 blurry photos from 2019, real photos, lots of them, updated, regular quality photos. It means review velocity, not just having reviews, but getting new ones consistently, and not just on Google, on Yelp, Facebook, Foursquare, Angie, and wherever else the AI platforms are looking. It means being active on Reddit. It means the keywords inside those reviews matter because Google reads them and the AI reads them. It means posting on the GBP regularly, not once a year, but weekly. It means having every single service listed, every single category filled, every single box checked. The businesses that did the bare minimum, I mean, they could skate by when the call button was doing the work for them, but that's gone. And that's why optimizing the GBP right now matters more than it did a few months ago. So I'm gonna bring this full circle. Google is running the enshittification playbook on local search. Friction injection, making free actions worse so businesses pay for the alternative. The call button going inside the profile, it's just the latest move. This is a long-term pattern. The call volume impact is real, especially if you have a thin profile and you're coasting on a tap to call. The biggest story, the one that almost nobody is talking about, is the AI overview slowly replacing or pushing down the map pack entirely. And the businesses showing up in those AI results, they're not the same businesses that are in the map pack. The overlap is less than a third, which means if all you're doing is optimizing for the traditional 3-pack, you're optimizing for a game that is going to go away. The depth of your Google business profile, the quality of your website structure, and your presence across the platforms AI is pulling from, those are now the single biggest factors in whether a local business thrives or it disappears from search. So everything I just showed you, the profile optimization, the review strategy across multiple platforms, the website structure that needs to match the GBP, that's all part of a system that I've used to rank local businesses in over 50 different markets. I've been doing this for over 10 years, ranking everyone from local plumbers to Fortune 500 companies. And the agencies and freelancers inside my school community are implementing the same system right now. There is a link in the description if you want to be a part of that conversation. But here's what I need you to understand, that honestly, none of this matters if your website isn't built to support your Google business profile. The GBP gets the visibility, but your website is what builds the trust and relevance that Google's algorithm needs to rank your profile. And most local business websites are structured completely wrong for this. They have pretty images, generic service pages, and blog posts that do absolutely nothing for local rankings. So I made a video where I break down a new AI-driven tool that my agency uses. It's the exact one we're using today to build websites and content for my clients. If you're not using this tool, you're honestly leaving rankings on the table. Go watch that video next.